Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. Welcome to my webinar. Ko haraita te waka, ko hikarangi te maunga, ko waipu te awa, ko ngāki parau te iwi. Ko hana ho hapata ahau. I am the CEO of Matapuna Training Centre in Gisborne. I know my hana mai. I hope you enjoy my webinar. To start, I'd like to share a couple of lines from our whakatauaki from our tipuna Te Awhiranga Ngata, seen here leading the haka in Huarahi Whakamarama in Huarahi. E tipu e rea mō ngā rā o tō au, ko tō ringa ki ngā rākara te Pākehā. In essence, this means grow up and go forth to learn the ways of the European. I believe this has relevance to our kaupapa today. My own personal interpretation of this whakatauaki is to maximise the opportunity, whether it be this webinar, a PD, a professional development workshop in Waikato, the induction process, your lesson plan, the activities you and your students engage in. Maximise the opportunities to embed literacy and numeracy. Once again, I hope you enjoy our webinar and that our journey, our experience and our resources may be useful to you in your mahi. Our project was called He Huarahi Whakamarama, which means Pathway to Enlightenment. It was about embedding literacy and numeracy into computing, levels 1 to 3, for learners from Mātauranga Māori environments. The funding for Te Arapiki Ako in 2010 was quite timely, as we actually had students enrolled that had come from Kura kaupapa and were struggling with computing. Te Huarahi was developed using the concepts of the Embedding Framework, knowing the learner, knowing the demands, and knowing what to do. What did we know about our learners? Well, they were Māori, aged 16 to 24. They had a strong sense of identity in Mātauranga Māori. They were familiar with Māori community structures such as marae, whānau, hapu iwi. They knew their whakapapa and they could speak to their Māori. Knowing the demands, initially we mapped about 30 unit standards across computing, and to be quite honest, when we started out in 2010, we were still learning. Where we are now in 2011, in terms of the embedding process, is that we would map the assessment and use that as the benchmark for embedding. We developed our own mapping template for this project on computer because it was faster. Knowing what to do, we used the learning progressions. We used deliberate acts of assessment to develop explicit teaching and assessment activities and resources. And we combined this with Māori delivery methodology, Māori models of learning, tikanga, so that we as Māori have grown up with all our lives. In terms of the kaupapa Māori framework, Matapuna takes a whole of organisation approach to most things we do. I guess that is just part of being a small Māori PTE. You get to wear many hats. We have 99% Māori learners. At a governance level, we have a Treaty of Waitangi policy. At an operational level, we have a Te Kaupapa o Matapuna, and a literacy and numeracy action plan and policy. We have 99% Māori staff with 4 fluent te reo speakers and a full-time qualified Māori social worker. We have a cultural advisory group, Te Arataki, that leads Te Kaupapa o Matapuna. Of 20 staff, 4 hold the adult literacy educator and 3 have achieved their adult literacy vocational qualification. We embrace the 4 of Te Wharetapa Whā model of Dr. Mason Jury, along with Māori pedagogies, Māori models of learning to engage students. As an example, Taha Tinana, we have a fully equipped gym and personal trainer on site. Staff and students engage in physical activities together, such as kapahaka, Zumba, gym, kiarahi. We have smoke-free and personal wellness challenges. Currently, we have 17 Māori youth trying to give up smoking. We have a personal wellness advisory group that determines the food we eat and the milk we drink. We provide a healthy morning tea for staff and students every day, and we have our own vegetable garden. It is Matariki next week, and our youth students will be planting. Sometimes you have to stop, and you have to make the effort to acknowledge Te Ao Māori. Embrace it as part of your curriculum, to celebrate Te Ao Māori with your Māori learners. This will enhance the learner's journey. For here, Huarahi Whakamarama, some of the kaupapa of this mahi was that we would trial our resources with learners and with other tertiary providers, and then share some of the learning and resources with the wider sector, which I guess is why we are here today. Thank you, Arthur. So what happened? Initially, we went off on a tangent. We started developing a heap of resources into our Māori. We employed a part-time Māori literacy resource person who had been through kura to do this mahi. We were lucky we already had a literacy champion, Kara Mackie, working on our intensive literacy program. We mapped every NZQA unit standard across the National Certificate in Computing, levels 1 to 3. But as I said earlier, one of the things that I meant to mention was that we, even though we mapped the unit standards, where we are at right now is we are actually mapping, in terms of embedding, we are using the assessment as our benchmark. As I said, we developed our own mapping templates on computer as it was faster. We faced a lot of challenges along the way. Our Māori literacy resource person got a full-time job. Our literacy champion went on 6 months leave to look after her newborn baby, hence my involvement, and we had another Cheta Miri who gave me a bit of support, especially in terms of Queen Kupu. We rolled out some of the resources to students, and that was a huge learning curve. The light switched on through that process. We refocused and we started to develop some explicit resources. Initially, we developed a computer skills matrix. This is probably not a very good example on PowerPoint, but to identify the skills across the National Certificate in Computing that students actually learned in the classroom. You probably can't see the evidence, but there are things like the CV, the PowerPoint presentation, email, etc., etc. The matrix helped us to become less unit delivery focused. There is reading, writing, speaking, listening, and numeracy integrated into every one of these tasks. What we found when we trialled the resources with students was that it was the language that students were finding challenging. Essentially, computing has its own unique language, which is made up of 3 language clusters of vocabulary. For example, computing, with words like justification, assessment or NZQA unit standards, words like demonstrate, and health and safety, words like ergonomic. We developed some explicit resources based around the different clusters. These are some of our learners looking at the clustering resource, and this is the actual one based on assessment and unit standard language. So using the vocab that fell out of unit standards 101, 102 and 107, which is common to most units across computing, we developed a jigsaw and a clustering activity using definitions and synonyms. This is the health and safety one, and I don't think I'll put the computing one on here, but this is just to show you some examples. In 2010, we were using Microsoft 2003. So our initial resources for the jigsaw was based on our using icons. In 2011, all our computing courses use Microsoft 2010. So our Jigsaw resource has been upgraded and is based around the ribbon. I'm not sure if any of you are actual computer tutors. But anyway, these activities can be used a number of different ways and with different groups of learners. For example, for learners that are on a computer course, it might be quite good for them to do the whole exercise at once. For entry-level learners to computing, it might be good to just start them off with 5 at a time. Am I talking too fast? I want to maximize the half an hour. Okay, kia ora everybody. We developed a whole lot of other resources, and I'm going to share some of those with you. We developed some mapping templates, desk maps, what else? And in terms of the skills matrix, like take for example the CV, we actually mapped a whole lot of resources. Well, no, we took the actual the WINS resource, so the booklet about CVs, and then we mapped that. So there was a WINS functional and chronological CV. We used a range of benchmark CVs as a way of sharing quality writing. So there's a lot of strategies integrated into some of the things that we actually did. One of our other resources that we put together was Kuinga Kupu Aroro Hiko, which is a computer glossary. It's A5, it's about 30 pages. It's quite a clever little document. It's fresh, and I hope that you will enjoy using it. The front cover depicts the potama and words used in computing. It has a pepeha, an interactive close and writing frame inside the cover, and it has a list of computing acronyms on the inside back cover. This is an example of what's inside. So it's got a glossary with the computing term, the definition, and the kupu whakamarama. The kupu sorry about that, a bit of a moment lapse. The kupu whakamarama is distinctly Ngāti Parau. However, the kupu can be easily changed to another iwi and or even Samoan or Tongan quite easily. It is a resource we are willing to share with the sector. The logo on the front belongs to Matapuna. Alongside this is the invitation that we sent, alongside the former PowerPoint was a picture of the invitation that we sent out to other tertiary providers. This is a mapping template. It's on computer. This is Right to Communicate, and we've got one for reading with understanding. And what you do is you just shade out the areas that you want to map, and it's all on computer. This is, you can use this as a desk mat with tutors, and it lists all the strategies. So if you actually, oh, hello Elizabeth, welcome. Are they available for purchase? No, no, actually we're going to share them with you, free of cost. Kia ora, Elizabeth. So the desk mat for read with understanding, and I think on the other side it's got all the strategies for numeracy. So you've got read with understanding, right to communicate, and listen and speak to communicate, and on the other side is all the numeracy. And it's all the strategy so that you can have it on your desk or you can put it on your wall. It's a tutor resource. Kia ora. So, what works for the Māori computer learner? Maximise the opportunity to engage in kōrero, hui and wānanga. Build on prior learning, such as pōheri and mihi whakatau, for them to develop their speaking skills. Establish Māori group literacy goals, such as, everybody learning a way to together. Get them off the computer. Bring people together to learn in pairs and in groups. Discuss words and meanings. Kōrero, whakarongo, katakata. Have a lot of fun with literacy in the computing classroom. Kia ora, Liz, Kathy, and Dana. Lovely name. Along with that, Māori pedagogies ako tiokana teina. So what works? Link computing to Te Ao Māori. Maximise the opportunity. Research your iwi or Māori website. Create a targeted resume using your pepeha, applying for jobs for the Māori organisation. Use whakatauaki, stories of our tipuna, and for copy typing. Use a pōwhiri. If you want people to learn about the pōwhiri process, write it up, take out a few words, make it an interactive close. Use diagrams. We had one which we found which is black and white with a person sitting at a computer, and the students, they wrote all their own words about ergonomics, and they put it onto this black and white sheet of paper. They were really creative. Some of them had feathers. They looked absolutely stunning. And if they put it in front of them, one of the students said to me in the feedback was that this helped them in terms of retention. Okay, Dawn has asked a question. We know some of our Māori students do not take well to formalised learnings. What strategies did you use to engage the student and to keep them engaged? Okay, I hopefully, this particular, I'm not sure if I can answer that quite now, because I feel that I'm going to be answering that question right throughout this webinar, but I'll come back to you, Artify, at the end, because at the moment what we are trying to do is we're trying to link the computing to Te Ao Māori. So at the start of my presentation today, what I did was I had I started with my pepeha and a picture of my maunga. And why not get your computer student to do their pepeha on computer? Use real statistics about Māori to inform students and to learn. And I'm just going to give you an example in terms of numeracy. Maximise the opportunity. If you look at the reasons statistically for the learning progressions, you can, look at your own students. Just work with the statistics that are in the group and get them to make up a bar chart. And it might be that you just start then to just reading the statistics before you go to the next level. So that's just an example of how you can embed numeracy into your computing program. Create a PowerPoint presentation using your whakapapa. Create a digital diary using Facebook. From my perspective, Māori invented Facebook. Because if you think about it, it's all about the whanaungatanga. So we might have been a little bit slow on the uptake, but that's just a little bit of kōrero for you, whakaaro for you. Create an organisational flowchart of a Māori community. For example, a marae or their own whānau. So what works for Māori? Tikanga Māori, manaakitanga, whanaungatanga, wairuatanga, rangatiratanga mātaranga. Te whare tapa whā, taha tinana, taha o hinengaro, taha wairua, taha whānau. What works? Use the learning progressions. There were solutions in the learning progressions that helped us with this project. Deliberate acts of assessment using explicit resources. Maximise the opportunities in your lesson plan through the activities that students engage in. Modelling before, model some of the strategies before, during and after the lesson. develop explicit resources. You know, sometimes with the resources, you can address so many things. You know, somebody's sky bill. You can address reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and numeracy at the same time using the one resource. Link to integrated assessment. So we rolled out all of our resources to local tertiary providers, and they were big tertiary providers. Tairawhiti Polytech and Turanga Araro. So I felt that you know, it went really well. The feedback was awesome from the computing tutors. I think, you know, there was a good response from the evaluations. The key feedback that I had was that they had a better understanding of embedding. So the key learning from this project for me, for learners from Mātauranga Māori environments, kōrero, whakarongo, group work. Get them out of that computer chair. Link the course to Te Ao Māori. We've grown up with Māori pedagogies all our life. It's not new to us. Just think about what goes on at the marae and relate it back to your classroom. Embedding. Map the assessment as your benchmark. Model the strategies. Use the learning progressions. Hey, all the solutions are in there. You know, with the lesson plans, all the lesson plans are actually in the learning progressions. Use them. Resources were useful for, you know, one of the other learning that we had was that all of these resources were useful for Māori and Pākehā. And again, just as our famous Tipuna said, maximise the opportunities. I did, through a free scholarship, I maximised a free scholarship from TEC a couple of years ago, and I got my NCAL. And it gave me a better understanding of literacy and numeracy. Maximise the free workshops, the PD, webinars, networks, you know, to build your capability. So kia ora to all of you. That's my kaupapa for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. And I'm just going to try to go back and have a look at, again, at your question artifact and see whether I have met all of that. I mean, one of the other things we need to be thinking about. Cool, great, I loved it as well. One of the things, oh sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. Okay, I've missed it. So just repeating Arthur question. We know some of our Māori students do not take well to formalised learning. What strategies did you use to engage the students and to keep them engaged? I think I may, you know, as I said, you have to maximise the opportunities, and sometimes the opportunities aren't just in computing. You know, it might be that you get together to cook a meal together, and so you can link into the you know, over here we have cooking as well, and you know, at the end of the cooking session, the student has a lovely feed. And has there been any learning from that? No, you've got to, you know, in terms of cooking, you know, you've got the budget, you've got the grocery shopping, you've got, you know, there's lots of numeracy throughout this, and then you've got the health and safety, the cultural safety, the food safety. Keep in mind, we haven't even started cooking yet. And then when you get to the cooking, you've got the weights, the measures, and a great resource is using benchmarks for those you know, to embed the literacy and numeracy. I don't know whether, you know, and the other thing to fight is, you know, coming back to that, you know, a whole of organisation approach. I think that could be the key. I mean, I'm the CEO of my organisation. I'm leading our literacy strategy. You know, we're not doing everything perfect, But you know, this is a big mahi. We've got a big mountain to climb. We only half, you know, we haven't even made our way up the mountain yet, the first bit. So I guess, you know, it isn't easy for Māori providers to, you know, in terms of our pūtea. That's why we have to maximise other people's pūtea, like Waikato University and the literacy and numeracy funding that is available.